fantastic to be here for yet another evening to talk all things colour. Look, thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's great to have you here as we are talking Taubmans. Whether you're embarking on a project, wanting to know about colour, or you would like to know about some of our wonderful products that we have that are designed to protect and beautify your space, look, you've come to the right place. So I'm going to let you know how our sessions roll. So for the first half an hour, I'm going to be on screen, streaming live, and I'm here to answer all of your questions. So it is a fantastic time if you're wanting to know about colour, products, projects, etc., to pop a question into the feed, and I will do my best to answer it for you. After half an hour, I'm still sitting behind the camera, but sitting behind the computer, but not in front of the camera. And that is when, if you have any photos or images that you're wanting to share with me of your space, that's when you can upload those, and I can then view them. As while we are streaming, unfortunately, you're unable to upload any photos. It's just the way it goes with Facebook. So I'm going to start this evening off with, look, the post that we have, which is advertising this session. We've used a couple of beautiful colours, and we have been inundated with questions asking, can you please let us know what these colours are? So I'm going to tell you now. We've used two beautiful colours, and they are out of our latest 2024 colour forecast, which is called Taubmans Equilibrium. And the green, because as we all know, green is a thing at the moment. The green is one of the colours featured in our Grounded collection. And you can just see it down there. I'm going back to front here. There it is. It's called Birch Forest. So a beautiful green. And you'll hear me talk about green being the new neutral. It certainly is. Green is one of the most easy to use colours. It's very adaptable, and it's very, very easy to live with. And you know what? Green has actually been, or is being described as I said, one of the new neutrals, but it's a very safe colour. Now, the next colour that we have coupled with Birch Forest is a beautiful colour, and that features, I've just got to find where it is. Here we go here. That features in our Scented collection, and it is a colour, you can just see my finger there, it's called Aria Ivory. Excuse me. Now, we're seeing the way that trends are moving with colour. We're seeing our whites really warming up, so taking on a really warm notation, and that is due to the fact that that beautiful modern Mediterranean aesthetic that everybody would be seeing trending, things like gorgeous archways, lots of travertine, terrazzo, etc. They call for, a warmer white to sort of pair with that. So that's what's happening. They're the two colours that we are using. Fantastic colours. Recommend testing those colours and trying them out in your own space. Okay, so I'm going to start this evening with, I've already got a question here. I've got another one as well from Anna. So Anna, thank you very much for posting your question into our feed. And your question is, I'm looking to do exactly these colours in our Montgomery Homes build. Now, what I'm looking at is a beautiful two-toned kitchen, everybody. It's a warmer white coupled with a beautiful sage. So I've picked Milk Cloud for the white and want to work out which sage undertone would work. I've sampled Highland Meadow, which is one of my favourite sagey style greens. It's beautiful. And we'll also get testers for Lazy Days and Misty Lake and White Clover. Would love your professional advice. No worries, Anna, I'm here to help. So Milk Cloud is a fantastic colour, and I know it sits on blade. Where are we? Here we go. So for those at home, and I know actually you can actually see that quite well. So Milk Cloud is here. It's quite a warm white. So if I'm going to couple that with, or pair that with a beautiful sage green, you're wanting the tones to work really, really well together. So I'm going to have a look at what you have mentioned. So I do know that, yeah, when you put it with Highland Meadow, and I'm going to hold that up here. And I don't know whether you can see that at home. Hopefully you can. Looks like I'm being a little bit cack-handed here. There it is there, the two colours together. They actually sing together. They work really, really well. You could also step up to the lighter version, which is White Clover. That works really well as well. That slight warmer undertone just is working really, really well. It's really important when you're looking at colours that they do pair together well. You want that cohesive scheme, if you like. Now, the other colour that we mentioned, or that you mentioned, was, where are we? Let's have a look at it. Lazy Days is a little bit more intense. You know what? I would probably, Misty Lake actually works quite nicely with that as well. I was going to say you could also try, there's a colour in between Lazy Days and Misty Lake called Palm Frond, which would work quite nicely. Let's have a look. Where are we? And again, I'm going to hold this up to the screen and hope that you can see this quite well. So they're sitting side by side and they work beautifully together. So it depends on what other factors you're going to put into your space. I guess I'd like to understand the bigger picture. What type of flooring are you going to use to work with these colours? Are you going to use a timber flooring or are you going to use a tile, and sort of what tone of the tile are you thinking? Just so that I can understand better which sort of sage green grey is going to work for you the best. So if you can come back to me, Anna, that would be fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay, what else do I have here? Hi Carl, thank you very much for joining us this evening. You're saying I'm after a mid-grey, no blue hues. Fantastic. Okay, you've heard me talk about this before. For those that are our regular watchers, if you like. So when you look at grey, it's I like to say that you can categorise grey into 4 categories. So you have, as you're saying here, a blue grey. So we won't work with the blue grey. You've also got a red or a purple toned grey. So as you can imagine, it's got that purpley red undertone. You also have a greige, so it's a grey that tends to have more of a brown undertone, or my favourite. You've got a grey that has a green undertone. Now, as I mentioned before when we were talking about the colours that have been used in tonight's post, that green is defined as the new neutral. When we talk about greys, greys that have that green undertone are quite a neutral style grey, and they're going to work really well with other elements within your space, whether it be timber flooring, you know, tiles, bench tops, etc. So I'm going to recommend, there's a couple of beautiful greys. I've just got to find them for you. So I'll go a little bit more neutral. There's a colour called Lunar Rock, Foxtail as well. They're a couple of beautiful greys. You can never find them when you want them. Where are they? Okay, so just to show you the difference. Here we go. There's a little bit of, and what's the other colour I'm talking about? More of a greyish. I just want to give you a visual at home so you can understand what I am talking about. So let me see if I can find here we go. Right, here we go. I'm going to hold this up and hope that it doesn't all just disintegrate. You can see some different undertones here. So we have more of a greyish happening there. Here I have more of a sort of purpley undertone. Those two have got more of a green undertone, and this one here has more of a blue undertone. So you can kind of see the differences that I'm referencing when I talk about grey being categorised into 4 categories. So Carl, for you, I would recommend having a look at depending on how mid you would like. This is the way I'd send you. Have a look at, here's Foxtail, which is this tone here. It's a beautiful, beautiful tone. And if you find that that's just a little bit too dark, have a look at the next one up, which is called Eagle Crest. So Carl, get yourself a sample pot of Eagle Crest and Foxtail. Grab yourself this is what I recommend everybody does when you're testing colours in your space. So hop down to, let's just say, your local Bunnings and ask them for a large piece of cardboard. Now, so when our paint comes into store onto the pallets, in between the layers of paint, they have what they call pallet liners. So these are large pieces of cardboard. Now, if you grab yourself a large piece of cardboard, you're going to want to cut yourself a metre by a metre square. Once you've got your sample pot, brush 3 coats out. Once it's dry, then you can test it within your space. So there's 2 areas that I recommend testing. So this is our wall, this is our floor. Putting your sample cardboard up against the wall so it's touching the floor and looking at it in natural daylight, and then obviously of an evening, and also looking at it under artificial lighting, because that way you're going to be able to see how the colour is going to work for you within your space. Now the other area, because before I go on to the other area, things like timber flooring can certainly, if you've got sun-drenched rooms, you've got beautiful timber, your colour on your wall can be influenced by things such as flooring, and all of a sudden your colour can take on a warmer hue. And I'll use the analogy that I always use. If you've got something like a red leather lounge sitting in the space, again, having that sun on in the rooms different times of day, the walls can sometimes look pink. So these are things to understand. So just taking into consideration the elements that you have within your space, and then understanding how the color is going to work within your space. Now the other area to try is, so again, we've got our wall, this time we've got our ceiling. You're going to put your sample of cardboard up in the corner there. So it's against the wall, touching the ceiling, and you're going to look at it again in areas, look at it in under different lighting levels. So looking at it in daylight, and then looking at it of an evening when you've got your artificial lights on, if you like artificial lighting, and seeing how the color works again within your space, because you'll be surprised how a color can change. So that's my biggest tip. I always recommend that, because I have heard so many times, being at a color wall, helping everybody, helping our consumers with color, and they've said to me, I've used this white, it looks really, really blue, I can't understand why, and it's testing it within your environment. And the same applies when you're looking at exterior color. It's testing it again, because you've got things that are going to affect it, being sunlight, and then you've got areas around the, in areas externally at your home or your space that do not get much sun, so the color is going to look different again. So it's just a great way of educating yourself and seeing how your colour performs for you. Okay, I hope that helps, Kyle. If you're wanting any more colour suggestions, please pop something else into the feed and I'll be very happy to help you. Okay, Serena, thank you very much for joining us this evening. And your question is, I'm looking at painting our interior walls a subtle lilac, which could pass as white if there is such a colour. Okay, so we are wanting something that is completely washed out, but has just that very, very soft lilac-y. Okay, there is a colour here. The first one I think of is a colour called Ornamental Pearl. So it is the second one down here. And look, honestly, you're not going to be able to see it on the screen here, but it is in our latest. Let me just have a look. Here we go. It is in our latest colour card. And it is in the corner. So if you open it right up, you'll find it in the corner here. And this is the color. So it does look white, but it has that soft sort of lilac-y, purpley undertone. So that's going to be something that I think would fit your brief. So give Ornamental Pearl a go. Do, as I've just explained, do sample it, do test it prior to doing all of your walls, just to make sure that that color works really well for you in your environment. I hope that helps. Okay, hi Vanessa, thank you very much for joining us this evening. So does chalk wash half go with bassinet? Lounge wall, so you're looking at doing all of your walls in chalk wash half to go with bassinet. Let's have a look. Let me just see if I can find the colors here. Can never find them when you want them. Okay, I'm going to have to refer to the reference at the back. So So I'll talk while I'm looking for this. So if you are looking at colours and you're not sure where to begin, do go down to your local paint store, like go down to Bunnings and have a look at our latest colour cards. Look, they've been designed to really inspire and give you colours that are very, very usable and adaptable. So I would recommend having a look at those. So number one. Okay, here we go. Chalk, wash, half and bassinet. Okay. Look, it does, Vanessa, they do work together. I do think though that depending on what you're after, like if you're wanting to do, you've probably heard me talking previously about one of the latest trends is what's called color drenching, and this is where you can paint all of your surfaces in the same color, but obviously using a product that is designed for that particular area. So you're going to use a ceiling, but if you're painting a ceiling, I would recommend using a ceiling white or a ceiling flat paint, because it's flat, it's designed to stop any glancing light and hide any imperfections. And then obviously for your walls, using something like a low sheen, Endure Low Sheen. It has NanoGuard technology. You can literally scrub the walls. It is a fantastic product. It's been endorsed by Sensitive Choice. It has all of your mold inhibitors. And for anybody that suffers from asthma and allergies, it is the product of choice. And then obviously if you're doing your doors and trims, you certainly want something that's fit for purpose there. I would recommend Taubmans water-based enamel. It is extremely hard wearing. And being water-based, it is designed not to yellow. So when you are doing sort of, colour drenching or an all-over colour scheme, so to speak, one colour, and using different products, the last thing you want is your enamel on your doors and trims to start to take on a golden hue. That can happen with oil-based enamel. So water-based all the way, and again, endorsed by Sensitive Choice, has your mold inhibitors, and it's got minimal VOC. So as the paint dries, your volatile organic compounds that are emitted into the air means that there is minimal smell. I love the product. It is fantastic. So if you wanted to go that way, like if you've got a smaller room and you're painting your doors and trims, walls and ceilings in the one color, it basically gives the illusion of more space, because where the wall meets the ceiling, generally as the eye looks at the space, it would stop where the wall meets the ceiling. But if your color sort of goes up and over, the eye just continues sort of going over, and it helps the eye to go, okay, I can't really size up this space. It all looks like one large space. So it's a fantastic way of creating the illusion of more space. And when you're using really light colors, as in with say chalk wash and bassinet, I think you could potentially use chalk wash sort of on all areas if you like, and then even going, and then if you're wanting a whiter ceiling, etc., maybe lightening up even more, having a look. I'm just looking here at a color called Cotton Ball, which is it's lighter, so it's going to give you a crisper, more defined, or a crisper definition if you like. So I hope that helps. Please pop something else into the feed. More than happy to offer some further suggestions. Okay, hi Sonia, thank you very much for joining our session this evening. So if using Alpine Snow for cladding and render, and the roof is surf mist, windows are pearl white, and the garage door is Dover white, what would you suggest to use on guttering and fascia? Is Brilliant White a good choice for front door eaves to go with the Alpine Snow also? So I'm thinking that you, just let me go through this again. So we've got Alpine Snow for the cladding and the render, then we've got Surf Mist, and then we've got windows are in a pearl white, and then we're going a Dover white for our garage door. You know what, you could continue using the Dover white for your guttering and fascia, and then for your front door you could also use Dover white. I mean, that's probably the way that I would send you. You can certainly use Brilliant White, but I'm just thinking that given you've got quite some varying lighter whites and sort of off whites, it would be quite nice to have that the continuity of having your Dover white sort of continuing, because the recipe to success when creating a cohesive color scheme is to have repetition. And by that I mean, because repetition is one of the principles of design, is having your color repeat and repeat and repeat. So I think introducing Dover White, using that again, I think could be a really good option for you, Sonia. I hope that helps. If you'd like some further information, pop something else into the feed. Very happy to help you. Hi Julia, thank you very much for joining us this evening. So you're wanting a perfect sage green for features in our Mullaney property. Oh, beautiful part of the world. Love the natural silvery green olive tones. Okay, so as we all know, sage can vary. You can vary sage from being a soft silvery grey, you know, very reminiscent of, say, a succulent plant, going into a sage that has more of a minty sort of tone. So it varies. It's very broad when we talk about a sage green. But given that you're saying you'd like a silvery green olive tone, I'm thinking, where are we? So you could go, and I don't know whether it's going to be too grey for you. You could go for a colour, so this is what I would have a look at. Have a look at a colour called Snow Olive, which I'll just pop that up onto the screen. By that I mean I'll hold my fan deck and see what we can do here. So Snow Olive, oops, I'm wanting to hold it there, is that colour there. Have a look at that. It is a beautiful tone. The other colour to consider, which is still in that sagey sort of tone, is a colour called Compton, which is here. So have a look at Compton, or you could go even lighter to the colour above called Silver Platter. I think if you're wanting that sort of silvery green olive tone and you're wanting it to be kind of natural, I think those colours are going to, you know, suit your environment. But please, if you need anything further, pop something else into the feed. Very happy to help you. Oh, Vanessa. Okay, thanks Vanessa for coming back to us. So all lounge walls in chalk wash half with a feature wall in Dauntless. Would this be a nice match? And for a bedroom, walls in bassinet and feature wall in beige pink. Oh, that sounds beautiful. Okay, let's have a look at Dauntless. Beige pink, you cannot go wrong. And again, very much one of the new neutrals when you start talking about those pinky beigey tones that sit on that edge. So it's not quite pink, it's not quite beige, but it's somewhere in between, quite, you know, some blurred lines there, but beautiful tones. So I'm just going to find Dauntless. Maybe I'm not. I am. One, here we go. So what are we thinking? Let me just revisit that again. Chalk wash half with a feature wall in Dauntless. Yeah, that's beautiful. Actually, that looks lovely. I'm going to hold that up here, Vanessa. Love that. It's very neutral. It's got an element of warmth. The Dauntless is quite a creamy tone, like a creamy sort of slightly caramel, but beautiful, and it sits extremely well with your chalk wash half. So definitely on a winner there. And then for bedroom walls in bassinet and feature wall in beige pink, would these be a soft match? Let me just see if I can find the beige pink in here, and then I can oh, beautiful. Yeah, that's lovely. That's lovely, like a really nice soft pink, but still has that element of beige. It's not too pinky pink, so to speak. You know, another color that would work really, really well as well is, let me just bring this up. Let's hope I can find it now. There's a beautiful colour here called Pink Dust. I'm going to hold that up. I'd recommend also, Vanessa, having a look at that, looking at the colours that you're suggesting and thinking. There it is there. It's beautiful. It's called Pink Dust, and that is shown there sitting against Bassinet. They work beautifully together. Okay, I hope that helps. If you would like any further suggestions, please pop something else into the feed. Very happy to help you. And thanks for joining us tonight. Hi Desiree, thank you very much for joining us. Sorry, I was just reading your question. So you're looking for advice on colour for our timber kitchen cabinets. We've just painted our walls natural white and now need to paint our kitchen cabinets. We added VJ panels to the Peninsula bench and painted it natural white too. Should we paint the kitchen cabinet the same or choose something else? My concern is the kitchen tends to have less light than the rest of the house. You know what, immediately I think of painting it the same. If it's not a well lit space, I think keeping it light is going to help, you know, reflect the light, not absorb the light. So keeping it lighter. So I think I definitely recommend doing what you're saying there, just to continue with the same color, taking that through just to keep that light, bright space. For me, I'm going through the same thing, Desiree. It's like, what color? We've got a kitchen that needs updating and I'm like, oh, I'd love a beautiful, really organic, deep green. But then I look at the space and it's like, oh, there's not a lot of light in here. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to stick with some form of white. I'm just not sure what that is, just to keep the space really light. So yeah, I'd recommend that. Okay, and you're telling me that you forgot to mention we have a black bench top. For sure, then definitely keep it light, because having that black bench top's going to obviously absorb enough light, and I don't think that adding any more depth or deep tones within that space is going to help you to keep it lighter. So light all the way. I think that would be a really good option. Okay, hi Desiree, if there's anything else you'd like, please pop something into the feed. Very happy to help. Thank you. Hi Carl, thank you again for your next question. So we have rooms full of shiplap, oh beautiful, and wanting a white that makes rooms look bigger and brighter. Room size is 4 by 4 meters. Okay, so if you want a white to make your room look bigger and brighter, crisp white all the way. Crisp white is our number one white, and I talk about crisp white all the time. I'm having a love affair with crisp white. It is beautiful. It is the most adaptable, user-friendly white. What I love about it is the fact that when you look at what makes whites white, so they start off on a base, and so when I'm talking about we're talking Taubmans, I'm going to talk about our Taubmans Endure. It has it's a very white base to start with, so it has a high content of what they call titanium dioxide, and then we add various tints to create your whites. So some whites will have a little bit of red, perhaps a little bit of black, a little bit of ochre, etc., to create the color. Crisp white has one tint, and it is raw umber. And look, if you looked at raw umber, you'd go, that's just a murky sort of no color. But what it does in your the tint in Endure, I'll reference Endure again, it creates the most beautiful, adaptable, user-friendly white that has a very soft glow to it. There's nothing cold about it. I know some whites that just contain black can look really cool in areas and can actually look quite blue. So crisp white can be used in areas that are that lack light, or areas that are, you know, a full sun, that are saturated in natural sunlight. It's that adaptable. So for you, Cole, if your room is 4 by 4 and you're wanting to make that room look bigger, as I was talking about before, you can certainly look to use the one color on all areas, being your shiplap cladding on the walls. You can also use crisp white on the ceiling, and you can also use it on your doors and trims, but obviously using a product that is applicable to the areas and fit for the project. And by using that one color up and over, it's going to create the illusion of more space and help to visually open up the space, so to speak. So have a look at crisp white. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful white. Okay, I hope that helps you. Oh, hi Tracy. Thank you for joining us. So I can tell you what the colour behind me is, and the colour that is on my pull-up banner is a colour called Foxdale. It is a beautiful grey that is a little bit more neutral, as I was talking about before, referencing greys that some tend to have, you know, either a blue undertone, a brown undertone, which we talk about being greyish, or a reddy purple undertone, or more of a green sort of, which we talk about being a neutral undertone. So Foxdale has more of a, I suppose you could say it has a slight neutral undertone to it. So a very adaptable colour. I must admit that looking at, it's a printed screen here. When you actually see the colour, you know, the true colour, the true paint, so to speak, it really does have that soft neutral undertone. A beautiful colour. Again, if anyone is looking for a mid-tone grey where, you know, they want something that's going to stand the test of time, that's the colour I would recommend. I think I have pretty well answered the questions. It looks like I'm going over time. So I'm going to let you all know that I'm going to be sitting behind, turning the camera off in a moment, sitting behind the computer to answer any further questions. So if you do have any further questions, you'd like to know something about products, projects, etc., and colour, pop it into the feed. And also just remind you that now is the time, if you're wanting to share images or photos with me, you can pop those into the feed as soon as we stop streaming. So thank you everybody for joining us tonight. It's fantastic to have you all with us. It's fantastic to be able to talk Taubmans as we always do. Until we all meet again, it's everybody stay safe, and we'll be back same time next week. And as I always say, everybody, happy painting. Thanks very much. Bye.